Good morning, good evening, team. And Brian, welcome to what I'm excited to see is actually our cross-cloud communication and actually how we're going to demo an application built on multiple clouds today. Acne Fitness is what I know we're going to be talking about today, Brian, but maybe you can intro first. Let's talk about your team and what you've built as a whole first. And I'd love to kind of tell the history here because I think this is pretty exciting. Raghu's statement about cross-cloud communication and multi-cloud era, it's begun. And I think you're going to be able to tell that story today, aren't we? Are we going to learn about that today?
Absolutely, Scott. Thank you very much. I appreciate you having me today on this little fireside chat to talk about Kubernetes and the multi-cloud era, which is now arrived and is officially here. Our partners and customers have been hearing about this at VMware for a couple of years now. And now the capabilities are truly there. We've got Kubernetes in vSphere. We've got an awesome management plane, which we're not going to talk about today, but we'll come back and talk about on a future fireside chat. But now we have an opportunity to demonstrate applications that are multi-cloud cross-cluster. So our customers and partners can assign the right workload to the right cloud. And that's really what we're talking about in
and
today's.
Tell me if I'm wrong, Brian, but also manage it anywhere, right? I mean, if I'm wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we'll come back. That's a little tease for a future video. We're going to be doing a video on the cloud management perspective as well of these types of workloads. But I'm the Global Alliances team. I'm a director, and I lead a small team of highly trained engineers that we build these types of POCs for our biggest and best partners. So they can take those proof of concepts and they can commoditize those, make those into offerings, and then take those into the customer marketplace. So this is the type of a solution that we're going to demonstrate in a little while, which will be adopted by our partners and be carried into their customer space. So,
and since I didn't introduce myself off the start, once again, Scott Saragusa as part of the Tanzu team. Brian and I are very well aligned, and more importantly, we have a motion to where we actually can build these solution offerings in and show these off to our customers and partners, which is even more exciting because, in my opinion, what we're about to show is really this is the era of multi-cloud. This is where we start really diving into products like TSM. TMC, we really start looking at how TKG can be that multi-plane and that dial tone across any cloud, hybrid multi, or even on-prem, right?
Exactly. Without further ado, let's get into it, Scott.
Love it.
I will share my screen with the audience, and the floor is yours.
Perfect. Well, Brian, and thank you again for having me on your call today. I think multi-cloud is here, and what's really exciting, like I mentioned before, as we demo this today, we're going to see an application that's utilizing AWS services, that's utilizing on-prem resources, and being managed by a single pane of glass. More importantly, the cross-cloud communication now is having the networking built directly into this, which I think is even more exciting. But how did we get here, Brian? I think that's the interesting thing is how we're building and how we're making this exciting for our customers and partners. And I want to start with the start, right? We all know that Tanzu was built 2 years ago, and more importantly, was the combination of some great effort and intelligence from Pivotal, Heptio, Bitnami. We brought this all together, and with VMware now started to inject Kubernetes, right? So vSphere 7 is where it started, right? And we are really injected Kubernetes runtime as part of this. And I think we saw that adoption very quickly across the frame, right? We actually saw all of our customers, we saw our partners getting very interested in saying, I think I can actually build this multi-cloud story soon. This is pretty cool. This is where it started. And now let's look at where it's going. So if you look at the next slide, as we continue to move forward, it's really how we actually now have aligned that Kubernetes across vSphere on-prem and having an open source aligned Kubernetes distribution across any cloud, on-prem, hybrid, multi, AWS, GCP, you name it. I can now give you a single pane of glass to manage all of that. But more importantly, when you want to use resources in one cloud, because there is a priority and there is a reason why, for your business outcomes to be able to drive something. I use GCP as an example. As you know, AI ML is a big piece right now, Brian. And I think for customers to tap into that from GCP, now I can build resources here, but I can also take advantage of other clouds, and I can take advantage of why they have advantages in the market. AWS for certain reasons, Microsoft because I've got alliance with them and I can actually grow my business quicker. This is what we give the customers the ability to do now with this. So second part of this, vSphere injection to Kubernetes. Now we have Kubernetes across all clouds in the same distribution, as you know, with TKG, right? Pretty exciting, isn't it, Brian? I see you smiling. I know
Absolutely.
this is pretty cool, isn't it?
You've set the table for our customers and partners, and now let's give them the main course.
I love it. And so let's jump to the next slide. And this is where I kind of started to mention, right? Same distribution, public clouds, edge. What's really exciting is now is I have the ability to have all of this simplified user experience across any environment. I have the ability to set policy and security all the way across any environment, right? So I now can look at this as one holistic message and more importantly, manage it from one single global control plane.
Absolutely. And that's one of my biggest talking points with our partners. The people kind of call me Mr. Management Plane. I'm all about the ability to manage those endpoints or those cloud endpoints, because without that, then you have to write your customizations for AWS or Azure, and you have to manually move the things around, and you have to manually load balance across your cross-cluster environment. Whereas if you have an actual management plane in place, be it TMC or be it vRealize or some SaaS offering from VMware, you have the ability to move these workloads with impunity. You have the ability to enforce a consistent security policy across all of those workloads, and you have the ability, if you will, to move them as needed. So, one management plane is the key. So that's, to me, the biggest point of this slide is the one management plane.
I'm going to expand on that, Brian, because I think you said that very well. But I'm going to expand on that to a point to where talking about from the operations side, you're spot on. I can now manage, I can set policies, I can put guardrails out on how I do application development, right? Pretty cool. More importantly now, for my developers, I'm creating this control plane and consistent environment all the way across. I don't need to train developers on AWS. I don't need to train developers on Microsoft. I don't need to train them on everything. I don't have to retrain my entire developer community. I can look at Kubernetes and I can have one single pace where I do that development across any of those environments. So I look at it both ways, but I think you're spot on. That control plane is key. Next step is now creating that consistent environment. And what's more exciting too, as we mentioned and more, and I know Dinesh is going to go through this, is really the cross-cloud communications, right? So that's another piece of the pie that I think really gets called out as we demo this. But what I want to call out here is we see the opportunities for partners as well, right? And customers to continue to move faster. We've seen success with multiple customers. I won't go through all those today because we have a short time, but a lot of customers looking at the adoption piece. But more importantly, as we look at our partner community, right, the opportunity is immense. I come from Pivotal, as you know. And I've seen businesses grow as how we drive consumption and landing applications on the platform. More importantly, build offerings that customers are really needing and driving outcomes for these customers. But we're giving the partners the tooling. We're giving them the ability to address all 5 R's: retire, retain, rehost, platform, and build, refactor, or what I call reimagine, right? Taking an application and just basically building a new one, right? And so this is the exciting part about the tooling being built in our overall Tanzu portfolio as we continue to evolve. And I think today's demo is just the start, right? And I think today is just the start. And I think Dinesh and your team has done a fantastic job building this out. But I'm really excited. I don't want to steal any more time from Acme Fitness, one of our great customers, as you know. Let's jump right into it, Brian, because I really would love to see the architecture and the demo of what the team has done. More importantly, let's talk about this in how this goes forward, because my understanding is this is built on AWS. This is built on-prem. This is a normal customer that we will see almost every day. And so I think this is pretty exciting as this really brings out the story better. So I'm going to stop talking and let you guys bring this forward, because this is pretty cool.
All right, that's great, Scott. I appreciate your intro this morning and letting me come talk to everybody. This slide is very important, and I, working in global alliances, I work with all of our biggest GSIs, and every one of them is building a practice with the 5 R's in it. And so this is a really important message for our GSIs, but it's an important message for our end customers as well, because everybody's got brownfield. Well, almost everybody's got some brownfield. Java's 19 years old now, Scott. I mean, happy birthday, right? So there's a lot of legacy Java out there that's got to get moved over. So there's a really nice 2-step that we can help people do to bring them over to a modern hypervisor with Kubernetes built into it in a VM, and then slowly over time refactor that into a container. That's a whole nother story for another fireside chat. But I love the 5 R's, and I love where our partners are going with that. Let's jump right into this. The reason I'm so excited about this is a sample Kubernetes application. It's more than that, though. It's source code that I'm going to show you the URL. You can go out there and download it, bring it into your development environment, give it to your developers, and they can go through the code and determine what changes they want to make. You know, when I was a developer a long time ago, I'd always borrow a framework from somebody and get started using that framework. I suspect Acme Fitness will be the father of a lot of applications that people are gonna copy the code and modify it and redeploy it in different ways, in exciting new ways. But the way we've deployed it today is to demonstrate what Scott was talking about, that cross-cloud, AWS and private cloud, Tanzu Kubernetes grid story. So just a reminder of what Scott said. Multi-cloud means multiple clouds. It does not mean Amazon only. It doesn't mean Azure only. It doesn't mean vSphere private cloud only. It means more than one. And that's the key of what we're going to show you today is this cross-cloud communication. So there's the link on GitHub. What we're going to do is show you running it in TKG on-prem 1.4, which is the latest release, and AWS. And this is a real demo. It's real code, and you can go out there today and download it after we're done. So this is the architecture of this Acme Fitness application. It's a traditional shopping cart. It's basically a website where you purchase online fitness equipment or purchase fitness equipment online. It has a shopping cart. It has a catalog. It has a checkout process. It has a payment processing, which is stubbed out. My credit card's not in there, Scott, anymore. We took that out. So it's but it's stubbed out, but it's there, and you can go look at that. So this is what we're going to implement today for you in the demo. And this is what Dinesh and I have done. The blue part at the bottom is the part that we're running in Tanzu Kubernetes Grid 1.4, running on a 3-node cluster in our data center in Palo Alto, California. And it's running on top of vSphere 7 on some vSAN ready nodes that we have. It's running really well and is very high performance. And Dinesh has configured it to talk to our AWS account, which does have my credit card in it, to talking to our AWS account up in the cloud for the catalog processing component. And the reason we did this is we want to be able to show people how rich the tool set is for the developers to actually watch the traffic go between the on-prem and AWS through that construct.
And I know I've already seen the demo, Brian, but you know I'm going to lead into the demo when Dinesh gives this real quick. This is exciting, team, because what not only Dinesh and Brian do is show you the architecture, but actually talk about how the application's been built, right? Where the databases, where the inventory management lies versus where the website lies. So I think when you see the demo, I think you'll see a lot of this, and more importantly, you're going to see really how this can be worked within a customer. So I think that's pretty exciting as well.
Exactly. Thank you, Scott. And I think that the messaging that I want to convey to our customers and partners is that Scott and I are not about products. Scott and I are about solutions. This is why you're seeing a lot of joy in our faces this morning. We're about something that people can actually take, partners can actually take, and they can sell to their customers. Customers can take and implement. And these are actual solutions in your data center. These are not we're working with AWS on this. So this is a solution, not a very product focused view that you sometimes get from your cloud vendor. So we want you to have the choice to put these workloads in the right place in the right cloud for you and your customer. So with that, I won't hold up any more time. I'll toss it over to my teammate Dinesh Sharma, and he can go through the demo, and then we'll come back and talk a little bit more on the backside. Dinesh, over to you.
Hey, thanks, Brian. Hey, hi, guys. My name is Dinesh Sharma. I'm part of the Alliances team in US, led by my manager, Brian Arose. So over here, we're going to discuss about, I'm going to show a demo on Tanzu Service Mesh cross-cluster app demo using Acme Fitness app. And to brief you about this particular app, I can, let me give you a small overview of what this app is. This Acme Fitness app is a polyglot application. Basically, it is written in multiple languages. If you can see here, it's been written in Golang, JavaScript, and Python. And you can access this particular app to this URL. And the basic requirements for this particular the app to be running is we require 2 clusters. What we do is like we have one on-prem cluster that's TKG 1.4. I've attached this cluster to my Tanzu Mission Control, as you can see here. And the second cluster is a provision cluster via TMC on AWS. And what I've done is like, so these are my two clusters, and I have deployed this the front end of this particular app on my on-prem TKG 1.4. And if you can see, these pods and these services are running on this cluster. And similarly, and my backend sits on my AWS cluster, the catalog and the database. So what we do is like, first, once we have this cluster ready, we onboard these cluster to the Tanzu Service Mesh. We can do this. We can do this onboarding in multiple ways, two ways. I've done it through the Tanzu Mission Control. I've just gone here and just clicked on Add Integration and clicked on Service Mesh. So this I've added the cluster to my Tanzu Service Mesh portal. So once both the clusters are added to the Tanzu Service Mesh, we should be able to go to the Service Mesh portal, and you should be able to see the clusters here. And once you have deployed the services and the application on the respective clusters, you should be able to see your services displayed here. This is how the UI of this particular cluster the topology would look. This is the backend, the database and the catalog. Once the app is deployed between two clusters, what we do is like, to make sure that the two clusters communicate with each other, we use a terminology in Service Mesh that is called as global namespace. We can onboard, we can click on new global namespace, and we can click on this, or else I've already deployed a global namespace. I can show you that. So I've just given a generic name to this global namespace, Acme GNS, and this is the DNS name that is the GNS name that are given to this particular app. It's called as acmegns.dinesha.lab. This is just a dummy DNS. Okay, you need not worry about this. So what we've done is like, we have added the two clusters here. This is my first cluster, and the namespace that all the pods and services are running in this particular cluster. You can see the services preview. You can see a cart, payment, shopping, all the services running in this particular cluster. Likewise, I've added the second cluster as well, the backend, which I have only catalog and the database running here. So we just accept the defaults, and we finish this configuration. And to make sure, what we see is like, this particular application has been encrypted using MTLS. So this is a great feature given by Tanzu Service Mesh, that's Istio running in the backend. So once we finish this, our GNS would be deployed over here, and once we deploy the GNS in this, and what we see is like, we should be able to see the catalog items popping up in this particular our application. So to access this particular our URL, what we do is like, we go to our the front end cluster where we have deployed the front end applications. We get the URL of our app. So this is my external IP. I have accessed this particular app in my browser. Once we go to the catalog, and we just try to add few things, and we go to and view those items in the cart, and we go to checkout, and we make sure, okay, we have everything run, and it's up to you, like how you go ahead and do your shopping. Okay. And once we do this, we see a communication between the two clusters in our Service Mesh portal. So once we click this, here you go. So this is my backend. I have my catalog and the database running, and this is my front end. And you can see I access this particular portal through it, and via Ingress Gateway. I'm able to access the UI, and that is talking to the cart, the database in the backend. And to show you more, like if you can just hover your mouse on any of the services, you can see the the data that, like, you can see how much the traffic has been going between your shopping and your catalog. So this is a great feature given by Tanzu Service Mesh. So instead of having some other observability portal, you can use this Tanzu Service Mesh to achieve cross-cluster communication and the service-to-service communication.
So Dinesh, let's go ahead and put something in our shopping cart and then come back to this page and see those requests.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely, we can do that. So I go to my portal. Okay, I go to catalog and say,
I need a water bottle. I need a new water bottle.
Sure, I can do that.
And a smartwatch. There we go.
Perfect.
Add to cart.
I will go to catalog again. You want a smartwatch? Cool. Okay. Sure. So I'll just verify that in the cart. Okay.
There we go. Proceed to checkout. So you can see they're there. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now let's
Your
go.
watch is here. Your bottle is here. So I'll just go to proceed checkout, and I'll fill this detail later. Okay.
Yeah. Not important. Not important.
Exactly. And here's my portal. So here's my service mesh. I click on the GNS. So it's going to take some time, but even though you see the communication, it shows like the 0.05 RPS. So there is some communication happening between the services.
Right. So what this allows developers to do is to see, and there's the graph right there, it just came in, to see the usage of and the performance of their clusters, even in a cross-cluster hybrid cluster configuration. And although this is a pretty simple demo for you, this is a very elegant solution from Tanzu Service Mesh all the way out to AWS. So an excellent demo, Dinesh. Thank you so much. Anything else we want to cover today?
Yeah, sure. A small bit. I just want to show you how it is done. So once we add this GNS, so what we do is like we just go to our front end or back end, like we to get virtual services. This is what does all the work for us. This, once we add the GNS, it adds the prefix, the initial.lab, to all the services you see here. And this is where the demonstrate our service registry replication across Istio clusters. This means that developers can call services on multiple clusters, say one in on-prem or the cloud, using GNS, no matter where they exist.
And that's important, the multi-cloud, no matter where they exist. And as you can see here, from our data center to AWS, doesn't matter. You can build more elegant, more complicated configurations and architectures, and using this technology stack, deploy those as your developers and as your cloud admins would like. The other point I'd like to make is just to remind you all, this software, the source code for Acme Fitness, is fully available and fully downloadable for everybody. This is open source. So you can actually use this in GitHub that's on the screen right now at github.com, VMware Cloud Advocacy. You can go down, download this code, deploy it in your environment in whatever configuration you would like. Set up your own AWS account if you like, or do it all on-prem, and make modifications to this code and use it for whatever purposes you want. So this is an excellent app that VMware has provided to the developer community to help to onboard people more rapidly to cross-cloud connector and to Kubernetes runtime services. So any closing remarks, Dinesh?
Thanks. Nothing, Brian. That's it.
Perfect. So thank you for joining our demo today. Would want to remind all of you that my team, Dinesh as well, maintains a blog at vcloudmakers.com. So you can go visit us there. I'll put that link as well as the link to the source code in the video itself down at the bottom. And thank you all for attending today. Hope you have a great day and a great session. And we're looking forward to talking with you more about how you can continue your Kubernetes journey with VMware, and with both our TKG solution, our SaaS offers of Tanzu Mission Control and Tanzu Service Mesh.
Dinesh, thank you so much. That was awesome. Brian, thank you. This is fantastic. And what I'll share real quick, team, is have the opportunity, watch this video. This video is fantastic, showing off our multi-cloud capabilities using TMC, using TSM, using TKG, and creating a single pane of glass for customers and operators to create security and policy. Last but not least, but creating a developer experience that is common across any cloud that allows customers to develop these applications faster. Brian, Dinesha, I just want to thank you. This was fantastic. I really appreciate not only what your team does by building these offerings, but delivering outcomes. I think you say it best, Brian. We don't talk about products all the time. We're trying to deliver the best outcome for our customers and our partners. Kubernetes is an ecosystem like no other. And for us to define this and show off cross-cloud communications and apps, this is exciting. I just want to thank you both. This was fantastic.
It is very exciting. Thank you, Scott, for hosting us today. Thank everybody out there for watching our little fireside chat. Stay tuned for more. We'll go onto our blog, vcloudmakers.com, and we'll have more of these, including the tease we offered earlier about a management plane story and some other exciting things that Scott and I are going to tell you about that we're working on the labs that make these products real, that make your environment sing, that give you the choice, that give you the cost containment, that give your developers the rich experience that they can have to build the future apps that you're going to need to run your business. So thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate everybody out there watching, and stay tuned for more.